Hey, welcome to Strength Sessions. I'm Camilo Gutierrez, coming back at you again with maybe episode 55, I think. I don't know, I'm just making that shit up. Anyway, back at another podcast, also with Clint Camilo. Did I say that right?
Yeah. Yep, you got it right.
All right, we're going to so your name, people pronounce it right, wrong, or do you got to correct people a lot?
It has been mispronounced since I was a little kid. When I was in the Navy, it was milk skin, muscle chick, muscle driver, you name it. And half of them didn't make any sense.
All right, so I'm going to get a shirt. Didn't I say I want to get a shirt with your pronunciations?
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
We're
unique.
So anyway, we're here, we're going to talk about next week's podcast. We're just getting this podcast thing going again, and we're going to hit on a few topics for next week's session, and that'll include Blair. He's in Colorado right now. Okay, so what we have here, we're going to talk about the history of strength, and he's reading my notes.
Yeah. Let's just start basically with the strength training benefits. It's a very broad topic and misinformed for especially into women. So we're going to touch on kind of the history of it, the different styles, kettlebell, Olympic lifting, which is your forte. Well, everything, kettlebells and so forth.
Kettlebells, yeah, a little bit of everything.
I love calisthenics, so we'll touch on body weight. Basically,
body weight. I think body weight's important. The most important. Like when I tell people, I go, most of the hardest workouts that we'll do are body weight.
Oh, for sure.
Body weight, and I tell people, I go, well, for me, I know that body weights are the most effective because in order to get better at them, what has to happen?
You have to do it.
You have to do it, but what happens to the body?
I'm not sure.
To do more reps.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So they're like, okay, in order to get better at burpees, they have to get lighter, pretty much. So their body adapts. So whatever. If you weigh 150 pounds and it's good lean weight, it's going to help you move better. But if you're a 150 pound guy weighing 200 pounds, it's definitely going to weigh you down. But in order to adapt by moving the body faster and better, it has to get smaller and stronger. So I find that body weight are just great exercise for dropping body weight at a good rate.
Yeah, I think. I just look at the history of the human body as. We weren't lifting weights to survive as we were hunting, our prey and gathering and just basic survival skills. So, body weight management was the most important. Could you pull yourself up into a tree? Could you hang from a cliff? Could you swim? Could you do things that require just basic body weight strength? So I think that's your foundation, especially for any clients. So we're going to touch on that. We're also going to go into different types of bodies. Kind of everybody's born with different genetics. That's obvious.
Yes.
That's why there's Bo Jacksons and Herschel Walkers.
Yes.
And some of the strongest guys in the world.
And
Prefontaines. So it's there's no reason to try to change your body type if it's just not going to work.
Yeah.
So if you're a very endurance type lean person, maybe your goal is not to become a power lifter. It has to be realistic. So kind of touch on body types, and then that'll transfer into women and how they're misguided in the industry, and carb depletion, trying to stay lean and skinny for the summertime, and then how they get there. Cutting carbs, doing just cardio, just running, and bypassing strength training, so the term skinny fat.
Yeah, skinny fat. People come in and they'll, some people realize that, they actually come to me and they'll say, I'm skinny fat. I might look good and fit in clothes, but I know that I can add some muscle, and they come here and they're like, hey, I want to add some strength training to my workout program, whether they're runners or not. They realize that, I need to change my body composition, so I need to, a higher muscle percentage compared to fat percentage, even though they're at a probably ideal body weight or lower than ideal body weight. So yeah, just kind of educating people on what a good body fat percentage is and what is a negative one. Whether they look like it in clothes, because a lot of times people will be unhealthy, looking pretty fit and healthy, but they understand the importance of actually feeling strong, being strong, and also carrying a body fat level that is not going to weigh them down, and they're going to function the way they want to function outside of the gym.
It's true. Also, we're going to kind of give a few examples of that we've come in contact with people who definitely need strength training. Basically, situations that expose weaknesses and movement from
Tell
lack
about the
of
kayak,
training.
the kayak episode.
One situation where I was out at Lake Natoma, and there was obviously a couple that was on their first date, and the man grabbed the front two handles of each kayak, and the woman went to grab the back two handles of each kayak and was unable to pick the kayak up. So therefore, she lacked the strength to do a basic movement, a primal movement I call like a deadlift, suitcase deadlift, and then also a farmer's carry where you're carrying weight on either side of the body while walking. So she was unable to do two just basic primal movements, and I would have to say that the guy was pretty disappointed, and there might not be a second date. But that's just one, it's carrying groceries from your car, picking stuff up and putting things overhead. Women do just as much of that type of stuff as men, especially around the house. And it doesn't matter if it's 1 pound or 100 pounds, you can get injured just doing the most simple, basic movements. And I think we know that just based on the numbers here in the United States of low back injuries and people on disability, and the numbers are just ridiculous.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people when they get up in the morning, they'll lean over to the sink and put their body in like a awkward position for the spine, and they kind of pull it. And I've done it a couple times too, where I lean over a certain way, and it just puts it back in an awkward position. I feel a little bit of a strain, so I tell myself, okay, tighten up the abs and lean over the sink. That little stuff like that can help, prevent injuries.
I think most people don't know the importance of core to extremity rather than extremity to core training. You can't train your extremity back toward your core. So doing bicep curls and tricep extension is not going to make you stronger through your midline and a stable like lumbar pelvic region. So you need to train knees to nipples, and everything else will remain easy. All running, climbing, crawling, swimming. You're strong through the midline. You're going to remain injury free. So it's important, and it's one of those misconceptions in the fitness industry from years of bodybuilding and everything being so aesthetic based as people bypass just pure strength. We're also going to touch on rep ranges and how they affect the stimulus and the overall goal, and how people do not understand that. Like your basic 4x10 bodybuilder workout is going to trigger more of a sarcoplasmic hypertrophy, building the size of the muscle belly rather than any direct strength. So we'll touch on the difference between the hypertrophy and strength versus muscular endurance, and hopefully that kind of opens the eyes of some people that think, well, I don't want to lift weights because it's going to make me big.
Lifting weights will not make you big. I like when people come in and tell me that, I go, man, you have a gift of putting on muscle. Appreciate it, because there are men and women out there every day doing everything they can, including taking drugs, to put on as much muscle as possible, taking as much, doing whatever they can through nutrition, rest, recovery, and and also performance-enhancing drugs. So if someone comes in and say they don't want to get big and bulky, it takes a lot of work to put on muscle. definitely they're lucky if they put on a lot of muscle fast, which means their metabolism's fast and they eat a clean diet. I mean, they'll be looking pretty good.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So I think another thing that we're going to touch on is importance of strength training for runners and cyclists. We know that really every other type of athlete or sport is going to do some form of strength training. I mean, even this day and age, golfers are like Tiger Woods when he was in his prime. You could tell that he was doing strength training because that guy was strong, he was lean, he had a chest, he had shoulders, and they have to have core strength with all that rotational force they put on their body. But cyclists and runners are the only ones that I get in arguments with, especially via social media, that think.
So you're a social media warrior. You go out there every day.
Oh yeah,
educate people. That's good.
I just battle with people all the time, and especially one of my cyclist buddies who thinks that I don't want to put on extra mass, so I don't do strength training, and then he throws out the said principle, specific adaptations to imposed demands. You're going to get better at cycling by being on the bike, and I always argue with them that no, you need to do strength training. You need to do strength training too. Just the right type of strength training.
Yeah, I think the misconception of, like, when you play a sport, whether it's baseball, cycling, swimming, when you're in the weight room, it's to help your swimming or your cycling. It's not like you're going to become just like a gym rat and just hit the weights all the time. So I think that's kind of another misconception, is that the trainer you're working with is going to try to make you into a powerlifter. Granted, we'll use probably some powerlifting moves, the deadlift, squat, or whatever. Power cleans. We'll do whatever movements we need to help that athlete out. But the goal is to get the athlete stronger, or that person stronger for their sport. So we're going to create programs that develop those qualities that aren't being trained on a bike, aren't being trained as a runner, aren't being trained as a football player on the field. So we get you off the field and able to train the other qualities of strength.
Or also strengthen the muscles on the alternate side.
Yeah.
For instance, cyclists. They're in a rounded position and thoracic flexion, protraction of the shoulders.
Yeah.
So
think Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Yeah. So the muscles in the lumbar also is definitely flattens out. You're not maintaining a lordotic curve. So they develop inhibitions and issues that you have to work on and counteract. So you've got to do things to retract the scapula, work the middle traps, so that when they come off the bike, they're not in that same horrible postural position, which just beats in those, and it becomes harder over time to relax the tight chest muscles and everything else on the anterior side that develops.
Yeah, so I have a client who's a huge cyclist. I mean, he goes to Europe it seems like every other month for 2-week cycling tours. So, and he's been able to strength train with me for about a year, and he just sees the difference. He's almost turned it into a gym rat, because I've showed him some mobility stuff and put him on a mobility program, but he takes it a step further and educates himself on mobility. He'll come up to me and ask me strength questions on different movements that we should incorporate, which is super awesome, because now he's taking responsibility into, getting himself better. But we'll see what we're going to talk about cyclists on Tuesday.
Yeah, let's try to get him in there.
We'll definitely. Yeah, I'm going to get him here on Tuesday. He'll be excited to talk about all his, because he'll want to talk and share about how much stronger and how much easier his cycling has got, and he's not winded on the uphill climbs anymore, and he can just power through it.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it.
What about that half marathons right there, dude? Half marathons, running, like how many? I'm gonna train for a half marathon. I'm gonna train for a marathon. Okay, let's go.
Yeah. So that's another thing is I call it the death of the 5K, just as a broad term. Is so many people.
It helps people get into fitness. Okay, now I need to start running. Maybe do some strength training and go work with a trainer, and
Well, the
get
thing
it going?
is because we're, and I hate to say it, but I call it the pussification of America.
Is that a book?
Yeah.
Is that a book?
Yeah.
Our video, our movie?
We're supposed
or is that
to
a podcast?
Yeah, that could be.